Clara Macedo, a young woman with a quiet determination, arrives at a luxurious apartment building for a job interview. The prospective employer, Ana, a poised and pregnant woman, asks Clara to wait in the elegant living room while finishing up with another candidate. Clara takes the moment to marvel at the sheer size and opulence of the apartment, feeling a mix of awe and nervous anticipation. When her turn comes, Ana's questions center on Clara's qualifications and experience. Clara explains that she was trained as a nurse, though she never earned her degree, and has cared for both the elderly and children, though this would be her first role as a nanny. Clara explains that she lives alone, with no husband or children, a situation that appeals to Ana, who expresses a need for a discreet and reliable live-in housekeeper during her pregnancy. However, Ana grows skeptical when Clara's references seem less than credible. One elderly woman Clara cared for, who also happens to be her landlord, appears more concerned with Clara's overdue rent than providing a genuine recommendation. Just as Ana is ready to dismiss Clara entirely, a sharp, unexpected pain shoots through her belly, interrupting the conversation and changing the tone of their encounter. Clara immediately springs into action, helping Ana sit upright and offering soothing words to ease her discomfort. Impressed by Clara's calm and supportive demeanor, Ana reconsiders her initial doubts and decides on the spot to hire her. Elated but nervous, Clara returns to her cramped apartment to prepare for her new job. However, when she opens her closet to pack, she discovers all her clothes are missing. Furious and certain of her landlord's meddling, she confronts Amelia, who smugly admits to taking the clothes as collateral, promising to return them only after Clara pays the overdue rent. Clara pleads with Amelia, explaining that she starts a new job the next day and will soon be able to repay her debts. Skeptical of Clara's ability to hold the position, Amelia reluctantly returns her clothes, but keeps the microwave as collateral. The following morning, Clara arrives at Ana's eerily quiet apartment for her first day of work. Spotting a shattered pot on the floor, she instinctively cleans it up and begins organizing the space. She diligently assembles the crib for the baby's room, but while tidying Ana's bedroom, Clara freezes in shock upon discovering a gun resting ominously on the bedside table. During dinner, Clara serves a simple soup, apologizing that she could have prepared something more flavorful if Ana had stocked anything other than meat in her fridge. Ana agrees to let Clara take charge of the grocery shopping moving forward. The next day, Clara accompanies Ana to her ultrasound appointment, where the doctor reassures them that her pregnancy, including the sporadic pains, is progressing normally. He also confirms that Ana is expecting a baby boy. Yet, instead of joy, Ana's face betrays an unsettling mix of anxiety and concern, leaving Clara puzzled about the reason behind her unease. After the appointment, Ana's spirits lift as she visits an upscale store, browsing through elegant items. Trying on a pair of high heels, she spots an old acquaintance nearby, but the woman offers only a curt greeting before quickly leaving Ana visibly unsettled. Determined to treat herself, Ana decides to purchase the shoes, but her card is declined, forcing her to try another. Later that evening, after an exhausting day spent cleaning and painting the nursery, Clara hears music echoing from the living room. Curious, she finds Ana dressed in a glamorous gown, holding a beer, and dancing alone in a defiant yet melancholic celebration. Clara initially tries to take the beer from Ana, but Ana persuades her to join in for a drink, revealing it's her 29th birthday. As the evening unfolds, Ana's loneliness becomes evident, and she begins to open up about her past. She shares that her family didn't even bother to wish her a happy birthday this year. Back in Pagode, she had been engaged to a man named Alessio, but her life unraveled after an affair led to her pregnancy. Her family, disapproving of her choices, brought her to the city, urging her to have an abortion. When Ana refused, they severed all ties, leaving her to face the consequences alone. Alessio's public ridicule on the internet left Ana humiliated and with no reason to return to Pagode, forcing her to remain in Snow Paulo, where at least she owned her house. Despite this, She missed her family and hometown deeply. During her 28-week checkup, the doctor diagnosed Anna with high blood pressure and instructed her to eliminate meat from her diet. Clara quickly cleared Anna's fridge of all the meat, restocking it with fresh vegetables. As days passed, the bond between the two women grew stronger. Clara supported Anna through her pregnancy, helping her listen to the baby's heartbeat with an ultrasound device and even gifting her a baby name book to inspire hope for the future. Returning from a late night at a bar, Clara finds Anna rummaging through the fridge with an unusual urgency. At first, she assumes Anna is awake, but then notices her half-closed eyes, revealing she is sleepwalking. Suddenly, Anna kisses Clara but bites her lip, appearing disturbingly satisfied by the taste of blood. The next morning, Anna has no recollection of the incident, though she confesses to having a troubling dream. Later, while reviewing Anna's pregnancy notes, Clara makes a chilling discovery: the sleepwalking episode occurred under the glow of the full moon. Clara discovers a pattern in Anna's notes: restless sleep always coincides with the full moon. That evening, under the same luminous sky, Anna is plagued by a nightmare, and Clara soothes her, leading to a passionate moment that ends with them sleeping together. But deep into the night, Anna's eyes snap open, wild and animalistic, as she silently rises from the bed. Alarmed, Clara realizes Anna is sleepwalking again and quietly follows her as she ventures out of the house and into the night, the eerie glow of the moon casting unsettling shadows on their path. Under the haunting light of the full moon, Clara watches in horrified disbelief as Anna, in a sleepwalking trance, prowls the city like a ghost. Anna picks up a stray animal from the street, snaps its neck, and greedily drinks its blood, all while unaware of her actions. The next morning, Anna remembers nothing, yet feels full of energy during her workout. As Clara prepares lunch, she ponders the strange occurrences: Anna's thirst for blood. Her sleepwalking aunt comes up with an unsettling idea. She cuts her hand, allowing her blood to drip into Anna's meal, hoping to satisfy her bizarre cravings. After Anna eats, Clara finally confronts her, explaining the strange patterns she's observed since she started working for her, especially the disturbing link to the full moon. Clara, with a sense of urgency, reveals to Anna that she was the one who hurt her shoulder the first time she found her sleepwalking, and gently reminds her that Anna has been plagued by nightmares every night. Anna, distressed, blames her condition on the pregnancy, but Clara reassures her, trying to soothe her anxiety. She recalls how her grandmother used to say that babies were often restless on full moon nights, offering an explanation for Anna's troubled sleep. Clara suggests they perform a test that night, since it would still be a full moon, to see if it brings any clarity to the bizarre and frightening events that have been unfolding. Clara carefully sprinkles flour around Anna's bed, hoping to check in the morning if Anna had sleepwalked again, and when they find the flour untouched the next day, Anna finally begins to calm down. As the days pass and Anna prepares for the arrival of her baby, Clara grows more curious. One evening, while they are talking, Clara asks why Anna keeps a gun near her bed. Anna casually explains that she's simply used to having one nearby, having grown up near a hunting area. This triggers Clara's memory of the cat Anna killed a few nights ago, and with a mix of concern and curiosity, she asks when the last time Anna hunted or killed an animal was. Clara then opens up to Anna about the night she met Jorge Mario, the man she cheated on her fiancé with. She tells her how she first encountered him at a cowboy bar in the countryside and spent a passionate night with him in his car. Exhausted from their wild night together, Clara fell asleep, only to be jolted awake by a growl. When she opened her eyes, Jorge was gone, and a wolf was lurking outside the car. She tried to shoot it but missed, and the yellow-eyed beast disappeared into the darkness. The following month, as the full moon approaches, Anna finds herself craving pine nuts and insists that Clara go out and buy some for her. Clara hesitates at first, not wanting to leave Anna alone, but eventually gives in, locking the door behind her with the intention of keeping Anna safe in the house, even if she sleepwalks. However, while Clara is gone, Anna's pain intensifies, and despite taking the sleeping pills prescribed by her doctor, they offer no relief. Desperate to ease her suffering, Ana takes 3 times the prescribed dosage. When Clara returns from the store, she finds Ana paralyzed with pain, the baby kicking furiously inside her. Before Clara can call for help, Ana's stomach ruptures, sending her into a terrifying crisis. Clara walks into the room to find Ana taking her last breath on the bloody bed, a dark, small beast crawling on the floor beside her. Her first instinct is to point the gun at the creature, but as she watches it more closely, she realizes with a shock that it's Ana's baby, something between a human child and a wolf. At first, Clara is overcome with fear and decides to run, leaving the baby behind, but when she hears the infant's cries, her resolve falters. Unable to abandon the child, she changes her mind, picks him up, and takes him home, naming him Joel, the name Ana had once chosen for her son. Years have passed, and Joel still lives with Clara in their small apartment. Clara now works as a nurse and raises Joel to be as normal as possible. He goes to school, has friends, and lives a typical childhood, though Clara keeps him indoors most of the time. She has raised him as a vegetarian, and despite his friend Mauricio's attempts to offer him meat, Joel shows no interest, as Clara has told him he's allergic to it. On Joel's 7th birthday, a full moon rises, and Clara, as always, locks him in the small room she calls the little bedroom, where he is chained up for the night, a ritual that occurs every full moon. That night, Joel asks his mother if he can attend his friend Amanda's birthday party on Friday, but Clara gently reminds him that the full moon will still be in the sky, meaning he'll have to spend the night locked away in the little bedroom. Disappointed that he's never allowed to do anything fun, Joel is consoled by Clara's promise that this strange routine will eventually end. As Joel is chained up during the full moon, Clara takes solace in looking at Ana's old photograph, which she keeps hidden along with some of Ana's belongings in a shoebox that Ana had bought years ago. The next day, when Joel is still exhausted from his werewolf transformation, Clara bathes him, carefully shaves the long hair from his body, and trims his nails, treating him with the tenderness of a mother, even as the secret of his true nature remains buried. One day, while Clara is at work, Amelia notices that Joel looks pale and tired. Concerned, she asks him if he's had breakfast, and Joel admits that he's only had some bread. Thinking he needs something more substantial, Amelia decides to cook him a steak, convinced it will help him feel better. When Joel hesitates and tells her that he's not allowed to eat meat, Amelia insists, urging him to keep it a secret from his mother. As the steak sizzles, Joel can't help but be drawn in by the delicious smell, his curiosity piqued by the scent of something he's never been allowed to taste. Joel is overwhelmed by the taste of the steak and devours it in mere seconds, savoring the flavor he's never known. When Clara returns home that night, she is immediately confronted by an angry Joel who has gone through her belongings and discovered Ana's old photograph. Furious, he demands to know who the woman in the picture is, suspecting that she might be his real mother. Clara had planned to tell him about Ana's death when he was older, but now, with no choice, she has to face the truth. The confrontation escalates into a fierce argument, and for the first time, Joel's anger erupts. In the end, Clara has no choice but to restrain him and lock him in the little bedroom, the tension between them thicker than ever. Clara senses a shift in her son. Something is different, and when she confronts Amelia about the steak, Amelia admits to giving it to Joel. She also mentions that she's noticed him getting sick every month, which only adds to Clara's growing unease. Meanwhile, Joel's friends begin to notice something is off with him. They find it strange that his mother never lets him outside, and their concern grows. The next day, when Joel is calmer, he asks more questions about his mother, and Clara, though hesitant, tells him that she was a kind woman who loved to dance and lived near the bridge across the river. She promises to tell him the truth about how she died when he's older, but for now, she shields him from the harsh reality. Joel is still determined to find his father, though he doesn't know who he is, and that day, he confides in his friend Mauricio. He tells him that he plans to cross the river and head to the city, recalling that the shoebox containing his mother's picture was from the Crystalwoods Mall, which becomes his first stop in the search for answers. The two boys take the train and arrive at the mall, unaware of the trouble brewing back home. Meanwhile, Clara waits anxiously outside Joel's school to pick him up, but when he never appears, her worry grows. She asks all of his teachers if they've seen him, but no one has any answers, and neither do the other people who might have noticed him. Meanwhile, the two boys wander through the mall, tirelessly searching for Joel's father. They spend hours scouring the stores, but of course, find no trace of him. As the evening wears on, and the stores begin closing, the boys grow anxious, fearing that security will soon ask them to leave. In a panic, they hide among the racks of clothes as the mall grows quiet and dark. Despite the creeping sense of fear, the boys refuse to give up, with Mauricio treating their search as a game, while Joel remains focused and determined. As they continue their journey through the mall, the clouds part above them, revealing the full moon through the glass ceiling, signaling that something significant is about to unfold. As the transformation overtakes him, Joel grunts, desperately wanting to return home to his little room, but it's too late. His body is already covered in thick hair, his nails elongating into sharp claws, and his face twists into a wild, wolfish snarl. Driven by a primal urge, Joel begins chasing his terrified friend through the empty halls of the mall, grunting and roaring with savage intensity. He corners Mauricio, attacking him viciously. Back at home, Clara waits helplessly, unable to stop her son's transformation. She hears a strange noise from the yard and rushes outside, only to find Joel sleeping soundly in his bed, his face smeared with blood. Amelia, deeply religious, believes that Joel is the devil himself and blames Clara for never baptizing him. She insists on calling a priest, likely for an exorcism, to rid the boy of his Wolf-like curse. But Clara, desperate to keep the secret she's protected for years, can't let anyone else uncover the truth. She quickly injects Amelia with a tranquilizer to stop her from acting on her plan. As Amelia falls unconscious, Clara hurriedly packs their belongings and declares that Joel won't be going to school that day. But before they leave, Clara demands to know where Joel had been the entire night, her anxiety growing with each passing moment. Joel confesses that he and Mauricio were searching for his father at the mall, but can't remember how they made it back. He also mentions having a strange dream involving Mauricio, which makes Clara realize with horror that Joel must have attacked him. She understands now that her son is a danger to those around him. When Clara tells Joel they must run away, he becomes furious and refuses to leave. In a sudden burst of defiance, he storms into the little room, claiming he wants to take the fairy lights with him. But this is just a ruse. He locks Clara inside the room, trapping her as his rage escalates. Joel heads to school as usual, but he quickly notices that Mauricio isn't sitting beside him like he always does. He asks Amanda to accompany him to the school dance, surprising her since she knows his mother never allows him out after dark. Nevertheless, she agrees to go. Meanwhile, in the little bedroom, Clara is desperately trying to escape, but the door is far too sturdy to break open. Concerned about Clara's absence from work, her co-worker Angela stops by the house and finds the front door ajar. Entering the empty house, Angela hears Clara's phone ringing from the child's bedroom, intensifying her worry. Clara, banging on the door of the little room and screaming for help, is finally freed by Angela, who is shocked by the eerie nature of the room they've been hiding in. Clara, however, doesn't have time to explain and quickly loads Ana's gun before rushing off to the school dance, knowing that Joel will be there. Meanwhile, as Joel dances with Amanda, the transformation begins. His nails sharpen at an alarming rate, ripping through Amanda's small hand in the process, as he struggles to control the monstrous change overtaking him. Joel warns Amanda to run, but the vicious Wolf inside him is already hunting her down. Just as he's about to attack, Clara fires a shot into his back, stopping him momentarily. Amanda flees into the crowd, telling them what happened, and the locals quickly gather weapons, rushing toward Clara's apartment. Clara, knowing she has no time to lose, takes Joel to the little bedroom, chaining him up before tending to his wounds as the little Wolf whimpers and cries. Behind the heavy door, Clara can already hear the angry shouts of the approaching crowd. In a desperate attempt to calm him, she sings the lullaby Anna used to sing to Joel while she was pregnant, hoping her voice will soothe him amidst the chaos. Clara, having made her decision, finally releases Joel from the chains, and to her relief, he doesn't attack her. She realizes she can no longer keep him locked away, chained and hungry, living a life of fear and isolation. With a deep breath, they hold hands, ready to face the consequences together, as Joel lets out one final, mournful howl that echoes through the stillness of the night.